Get it. Welcome to another episode of People's Mic. I'm Jimmy Peoples. Introduce yourself.
Tom Decillis.
Tom Decillis.
Elyse Delucci.
Damn right you are. This is a special episode because sometimes people reach out to me and say they want us to talk about something specific. And today, Elyse reached out. She was like, I just want to pick your brain. It was supposed to be off camera, but we're going to do it on camera because I feel like there's something a lot of people want to know.
Yeah.
Right? And I like doing stuff like that. As long as it's not, it can help somebody else.
It totally can. So, I am also, and not only am I a stand-up, I'm also a voiceover actor. Yeah. So Jimmy is also an actor and talked about how does he get into voiceover. And I was like, I will tell you how to get into voiceover. Yeah. You talk to me about the podcasting 101.
I might take some notes on this.
I could email you after. I have a Word doc.
Yeah,
if you
just,
want. So I have some questions for you on podcast. So how many episodes? So you filmed 300 or how many?
I started filming, I believe, over at 100. I believe you can look back.
Okay.
But I recorded up to, this is 335.
What was your first episode?
First one that I recorded?
The first podcast episode you've ever done?
Number one, I guess it would be.
No, like what was the top? Was it just you? Was it just you? Was it just you?
No,
like,
who was on the first episode? It was Ed McGowan, I believe.
Okay.
Because he was doing the sound, and we just sat in the room. I turned it on, and I listened to. I read the podcast books. It was like first step was just turn on your device and start talking, and then that's what we did. It's called Juggin' and Boogin'. I remember that.
That was the
first episode. The name of that episode was Juggin' and Boogin'.
So I have technical questions, but before we get into the technical questions, I have a couple of basic questions. So when you started the podcast, everybody wants to start podcasts. Everybody wants to get their voice out there.
Absolutely.
Everybody wants some people want to be on camera. Did you come with an idea, or were you just like, no I'm just going to talk to other comedians?
I came into this room and nothing was happening, and then I was like, I had the idea that eventually comics would come and it would just be us talking.
Yeah.
And then eventually I would just have a comic come up, and eventually it would be bigger comics talking to a new guy. That's what I wanted, but it became just comics talk. That was the goal. Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah, sometimes older guys come, but they're doing important shit at 2:15.
Yeah, so let's get into podcasting tech 101. So what do you use?
I use.
You have a remote setup.
I have a phone. I have my other phone. That's the S10 Plus. I use for video. I got the Snowball, and I got the iRig mic.
So two phones. One phone you use to record the video.
One phone for video.
And what is that? The square jellyfish stand that you're using?
That's the
square jellyfish stand. That is plugged in to this mic, which is the blue Snowball mic.
The blue Snowball mic.
And that's what picks up our audio.
That's what picks this particular Snowball picks up the group sound.
It's more of a room, like
a
room mic, right?
Yeah, it's a room mic. So it picks up people back there, picks up everybody, whoever's talking.
Right. Because in VO, we only, like I have a home studio setup, I only have one mic. So this is like a...
That's...
What mic, what is that called?
So for VO, we could even do another episode on VO 101, but my mic for VO is the Sennheiser MK4 digital condenser mic. Okay. So I have a mic stand, I have that mic, it sits in the condenser, which is like sort of this like little trappy, Venus flytrappy thing. And then I have a music stand that you put the copy and insulation and yada yada. But back to podcasting. So Jimmy also has this, and this is another phone.
That's
with
the Moto, which I'm gonna upgrade soon.
With the iRig, and this is to pick up just the audio.
Just the audio. Just makes our audio better.
Okay, let's talk about this. For when you're launching a podcast, the best thing to do is to have a logo, and the logo should have podcast specs. I think the current specs, the max specs are like 3,000 pixels by 3,000 pixels. Do you have a logo for your podcast?
I have my picture that I made up.
Okay.
And it just fits automatically.
Okay. So if you want a
not
podcast,
a real logo.
you might want a logo. I'm launching.
Eventually going to get a logo, but
Okay. Where do you host your podcast? So when I say host, I mean, do you host it on SoundCloud? Do you buy hosting somewhere?
I buy hosting. I started with Blog Talk Radio.
Okay.
And then I got the free one on Blog Talk, and then Blog Talk spun to Spreaker, and then with Spreaker, I just they send it to everywhere, so it's super easy, and they do all the work.
So I think other options, and by the way, for the record, I'm starting a podcast / web show,
absolutely.
and that's why I'm picking Jimmy Frank because he's done 300 million episodes. So, but there's also SoundCloud and Podbean and stuff like that, right? And I think it's like $5 a month or something. You could pick up hosting.
Me, I want to pay for as little as possible,
of course.
So and get the most out of it. So I know I wanted to be on Spotify, and I know I wanted to be on iHeartRadio. A lot of people like being on iTunes, but me particularly, I don't care as much. So
that leads me to my next question: is when you have a podcast, you obviously want to get the most amount of audio listeners.
Absolutely.
So you want to have you want to have a distribution model. So where's your podcast right now? Where can people find it?
Most of Spotify. You can go on Spotify. You can find it on iHeartRadio. It's on iTunes. You can find it on iTunes.
So do you have to pay for each outlet that you're using?
No.
Okay.
You want to find the.
There's a lot of different ones.
You
There's
want
like
to
Stitcher
find. Yeah, there's a lot of different ones. You want to find the one that distributes to the most.
Okay.
Right? And I'm sure there's one more than Spreaker, but I just like.
There's a bunch of things like that because when I was in a band, we used. I can't remember the name of the website, but essentially they did that. Like you hosted it and then it put it on all the different outlets.
Yeah.
So prior to comedy, I ran a digital media business, so I don't know tons about the podcasting aspect, but I know a little bit. Once you have a hosting solution, the hosting solution should offer you an RSS feed syndicate.
Right.
So I don't know if you have that, but basically once you have a RSS feed, the feed basically contains all of your podcast episodes. You just need to do it one time, and then it syndicates out. You could pick where you want to syndicate out. So, for example, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, Spotify. So, do you use an RSS feed?
I have it, but when you do it through that site, they do all the work. You know, unless I'm posting it to my website. You know.
Okay.
And then you gotta copy and drag it and all that stuff.
Okay. And then, did you hear of? For hosting solutions, I heard of like Libsyn and Blueberry or
Why did I not use Libsyn? Libsyn was cool, but they didn't at the time go to Spotify.
Oh.
So.
I
wanted to be on Spotify, and then.
Did they go do that now?
I'm not sure. I haven't checked in a while, and I like Spreaker's price.
If you work
Libsyn
at Libsyn,
their data was
email
small.
us.
Something I didn't like.
Okay.
Was different from Spreaker.
Yeah, well, and I think it's like 50 megabits as opposed to like 100 or something. Okay, those are my basic questions. How long do you keep your content length? What's the length of content?
I just go until the mics are. So I started at whatever the setup is taking me longer, so I got to figure out how to get the setup faster to get But I usually try to start it between 2:15 and 2:20, and we go to 3:00. I like it short. I don't have the attention span to do a 3-hour podcast.
No, but a lot of the
and
podcasts out there.
I've never watched a 3-hour. Who's watching 3-hour podcasts?
I mean, I think that what people like for me, I don't watch it all at once. I watch it and I listen. Well, I don't watch too. I listen because I'm always on the go. Yeah. So a lot of people will just go back. It's like an audiobook. You know, you just kind of go back to it and go back to it. So I don't think very few people sit there and watch it 3 hours.
But I like this idea of keeping it more snackable, like half hour, 40 minutes, as opposed to like hour and a half. Like none of us are driving.
I think it depends on the content, because if you're doing like something a little more like uppity and like you said, like punchy, like then that makes sense. But like if you're doing like an educational podcast and you're trying to learn about something and then you cut it to 30 minutes, like you're gonna miss something. So I think that's where the longer podcast makes sense if the substance is there.
Yeah,
but if it sucks, you don't want a sucky podcast for.
So that's is a good lead into the next question. Is there's so many podcasts out there and there's so much noise. So how does one begin to get their stuff discovered? So for example, on iTunes, I know you're not on iTunes, but on iTunes you have all these. You could categorize your podcast by comedy, by politics, by shopping. So, do you categorize your podcast?
What I've seen that gets more views is hashtagging it. hashtagging your tags and the things that you talk about, but not generalizing it. Like talking about specific things, you know.
Like,
and then
like
certain people, like say I'm talking about weed today, and then put marijuana or whatever. People who are interested in that find that hashtag,
right?
And then
so
they'll
let
find
me
your
just
episode.
hold this up, because I feel like for anybody watching, they may want to see what Jimmy does on his podcast. Is he has a clipboard with like it's actually for someone like me that really likes to be organized. I love this, and he has the episode title, who's on it, the date, and then all the hashtags, and basically.
I always sneak a peek on what you write.
Right.
The hashtags you write, and it could be the most like.
But then I'll go back and listen to it, and then I'll add certain things.
And they're very specific to the content.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, and I find that so many people just come to that hashtag from that thing. Because I remember we were talking about firefighters, and all these firefighters started going to the podcast.
Oh, that's
like, hey,
cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
We talked about knives one day, and guys still knife companies, you know. So
Cutco, if you're out there, Jimmy would love a sponsor.
About hoverboards, I'm just, you know. But when it gets good enough, hopefully we'll get to that. We will get to that point. But
what about music? You sometimes have a music intro and outro.
Yeah. I'm not there yet because I don't use a laptop yet. So I use the house stuff.
Yeah.
So when I get the production up, I'll have the music.
Or is it that you do the music for the mic then?
Yeah, I do the music for
mic.
Yeah, I do it for my phone. So.
Okay, cool.
Can't do both.
Not
yet.
Those are pretty much my questions, which I think are really helpful. It's like, you know, just the basic equipment that you need to be mobile with a podcast. Because the thing about podcasting and being at a location is not, you know, especially depending on what your topic of podcast is, not everybody wants to come to the location.
Yes, but they're built in. So the reason why I like this is that somebody's always walking in the door, and it makes, like, I could be booking people more, but I'd rather just talk to these guys, and because
more spontaneous.
And I like the idea of one day looking back and seeing everybody who's made it and done great stuff.
Right.
Like, hey, so and so, I had him on the podcast.
Starting out.
You
We
know.
do have one
that's
question
actually
on
really
here.
cool.
Yes. This guy Will Mega said he can't see that, which I think was the list. So maybe explain one more time what that is.
Doug, take this to the screen and show Will.
And then Patrick Smith says, "Whose head is shinier, Jimmy's or the white guy?" So,
I always win.
I think
I don't
Jimmy's
have
gotta
any.
be-
I don't have any
you don't
Vaseline
even grow
today.
hair anymore, right?
No.
Oh, see,
No.
that's lucky. I wish I didn't grow.
Yeah. If you want that, I can share the project list. I don't give a shit. It's backwards. Yeah.
Yeah, sharing
Backwards.
is caring. You want to know what the best thing is? I was just, this is totally irrelevant. I was just at my WeWork office before I came here, and my credit card wasn't working in the credit card machine when I wanted to buy a can of seltzer. And a lady said to me...
I thought you were about to plug that.
Yeah, I was about to plug the quad. Can we get a La Croix?
Was this Game of Thrones? We're going to keep that on.
LaCroix, if you're listening.
LaCroix.
No, so I get to the machine, and I put my credit card in, and I'm like, oh shit, it's not working. I'm dying of thirst. I didn't want water. And so I went to the front, and I said, hey, miss. I said, you know, your machine's not working. I said, what do I do? And can I pay up here? And she said, you want to know what? Just take it and put it back. Give it back. Give it back to the world. So, like, you're giving it back. This is it.
Yes,
like, I got this for free from WeWork.
Where'd you buy that seltzer from?
Right
The
here?
Teresa?
Huh?
This one here, out front?
No,
the bar?
No, WeWork.
WeWork. They give that shit away.
I can't believe it. It was so nice. And you're giving back to the community now by sharing your list.
Oh, yeah.
It's so nice.
Oh, yeah.
What questions do you have for me on voiceover? We should do a more longer one day voiceover.
We're gonna come
thing,
again. We're gonna come back again. What are the steps to get into voiceover? Like, it's getting the demo, getting your studio, getting then.
So I sent you my voiceover demo.
Right, I'll listen to that.
It's a demo. In the voiceover world, your resume is the equivalent of a demo, and a demo is a 1-minute audio clip, an MP3, and basically has 3 to 5 spots, commercial spots that showcase your voice. So you can be doing a little commercial, quick spot, maybe a 15-second spot for Barilla, for Cadillac, for Almay Beauty Company, whatever. And it showcases all the different kind of voices you have. So that your VO demo is your calling card. You need a demo reel.
Yeah.
Most people get them professionally produced, which I have done, but you can also do them on your own, especially if you have the technical capabilities like this.
I have the voiceover app that I don't use as much.
You could do it.
You can use it on that.
Yeah, you could do
and
it.
They have like jobs on there. Like after you can send the jobs.
Yeah. So you need the demo, and then what you do is you can, if you really are just starting out, I recommend getting a coach. But if you're starting out, you don't want to go down that road. Voices.com and Voices123.com are two websites. They're kind of like the Backstage.com equivalent of the VO world. So basically what you do is you make a profile on Voices.com or Voices123, and it asks you basic information, a picture, name, where do you live, whatever. They ask you for your demo. They ask you your background, any training you've had in acting, performance, stand-up. Then they post jobs. They match you with jobs. Yeah. And so they show you how many people apply for these jobs. So, like you're going to say, oh, here's a commercial for, Midas muffler, and there's 600 applicants. And they tell you how much you get paid for the VO job. Mm-hmm. But anybody can audition. That's the best thing about those.
I registered at Voices123.
Yeah, so some of them you have to pay a membership fee, and
Voice
some
Bunny is that?
Voice Bunny is another. Voice Bunny is another one. Voicebunny.com.
Yeah.
How I got into it is I was in the previous life in the corporate world. I was on the speaking circuit. Someone grabbed me off, said, hey, you should get into voiceover. I said, okay. I started taking lessons with a guy, Steve Harris. He has a shop, The Art of New York. It's on the Upper East Side. I since changed coaches, and I work with Marla Curbin. She's the best VO coach in Manhattan and maybe across the country for commercial voiceover. Marla Curbin. She lives in the West Village. She's very fabulous.
Gonna have people show up at her house.
She's gonna have a whole mob of comedians showing up at her house. Sorry, Mom. But she's the best. And basically, what she does is, and she trains you. So she gives you copy. You go in, you read a cold script, cold commercial like this.
Yes.
This is a one-page short commercial for Kraft, 30-second spot, which is probably like for radio or television. And she says, hey, Jimmy, your voices would be really good for auto, or would be really good for, gym and travel. And so every week you would go, or however,
I need to be the new black authority.
These people make a lot of money.
Hell yeah. The Angus beef, I could do that.
Yes.
It's the beef. I could do that.
Yes. There's a lot of money. And the celebrities are doing it now, too. That's the other thing.
Absolutely.
It's like the celebs are, they always did the voiceover stuff, but they want it even more because voiceover, you don't have to memorize the script. You don't have to put the makeup on. You don't have to show up anywhere.
You don't have to look good.
You don't have to look good.
Give me a couple Marine commercials. Yeah.
It's competitive. I will say it's competitive. It's competitive.
I did a video game like a couple years ago.
So what isn't competitive? There's a lot of elite talent out there. So if you in voiceover, I am not one of them. If you go on Buckwald and Associates website or Arcieri or CESD, and you click on their voiceover, these are agents. You click on voiceover, you can hear the voiceover demos of all their male talent. Or their female talent, or their child talent, and you can see what you're competing up against. So I freelance with I have 3 agents that I freelance with in VO, and I go on auditions, and a lot of them are from home. I have a home studio set up, and then some of them are in person. And the auditions is quick. You jump in the booth, you read, and you jump out.
Nice.
And so I recommend you get in voiceover. You have a great voice. Everybody in stand-up has a great voice.
Yeah. That's how they stand out, right? Our voices.
I think that also like the diversification of skills is important.
Absolutely.
I
like I don't know. I shouldn't say it like that, but I like building streams of income. And I don't like doing just one thing. So that's something I wanted to add.
For voiceover, I use a software called Twisted Wave, which is $10. It's a one-time fee. It's great, and that's how I record my voiceover files. So my mic, the Sennheiser MK4, is a digital mic, and it just plugs right into my iPad, and I open up Twisted Wave app, and that's it. I hit record, and I'm off to the races. You have to there's a couple of mechanics, which we could talk about in another episode, like how to play with gain and how to make sure that the sound comes right, but that's it. Once you get the file, you just email it out to the job.
What's a reasonable price to pay for a demo?
Demos are expensive. Demos can
Should they be expensive?
I don't know. To be honest, if you have a really good audio engineer friend and somebody that could guide you and coach you on copy, maybe you could do it yourself, right? Like, I don't know. But professional demos, cost anywhere from, I've heard $500 to $3,000.
That's crazy.
If you book one job, sometimes that pays for itself.
Yeah.
But you know what? If you get some commercial spots, like, and you read them and you think you sound good, I would just try it yourself.
Do it yourself at first.
Yeah.
So you get okay.
I mean, I worked without a demo. I got my first agent before I had a demo, and that's just because I harassed his ass.
Yeah.
I was just like, no, you have to give me a chance, please. You have to give me a freelance job, please, please, a freelancer, please. And he's like, do you have a demo? I was like, no.
Yeah.
And then he didn't sign me, but we're freelance. And then I got a demo, and he's like, you didn't even need the demo. We're already working together. And I'm like, I paid all that money for nothing. But voiceover, I think, could be lucrative. I know a guy who's the voice of Buick. I was going to say Jeep. Anyway, the voice of Buick.
Okay. Yes.
Making a lot of dough.
Absolutely.
A lot of dough.
So they recut those commercials constantly, so they probably get work doing that. They're always like car commercials. They're always doing new commercials all the time.
And then there's another area of voiceover. If you're a fast talker, if you could do the
Oh God!
if you could read the legalese.
Oh shit!
You know, like
there's so much,
on the pharma commercials.
Oh,
like there's a story in voiceover. I don't know the woman's name, but she's basically like the fastest, most clear, diction reader there is, and she does all the legalese for like, I don't know, like she did like one audio shoot, and basically for a pharma brand, and her legalese on every single whatever pharmaceutical commercial there is, and she gets a check in the mail every time
it's read.
it runs.
It's beautiful.
I mean,
it's a good check.
That's
just gonna go home and start reading as fast
as
I can.
There's so much work out there.
One trick in voiceover is to get good is to do vocal drills. You can like Google online like how to like vocal warm-ups, like what singers use, or read a children's book every day, a couple of children's books every day, read anything out loud once a day.
Have you done any
for
books?
20 minutes.
Have you done books?
I have not done audiobooks, but that's a big market.
Yeah, it's a big market. Yeah, Amazon has like a where you can upload your voice to read books.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know
I gotta
that.
get that link for that.
That'd be good, except for that whole part that I'd have to read the book.
You gotta read the book.
Yeah,
I was like, I'll read
I'm not
a book.
really good at that.
I'll read a couple of hours, read a book.
yeah, like that's lucrative too. I mean, I haven't gotten to audiobooks. I don't think I have the right voice for audiobooks. I mean, and I feel like I'm real with myself on what the capabilities are, but
depends on what book, right?
yeah, I mean, if it's like True Confessions
like,
of a Staten Island Housewife,
Yeah.
I feel like I'd
your
mess
book
it
is
up.
out there.
I'd be like reading like a murder mystery. I'd be like, oh shit! It's like,
Edit it out.
Got him.
But you should. I feel like everybody should do it. Like you never know. Like some marketers, I mean, haven't been in the media business. Some marketers just hear that a voice and they're like, "That's the voice.
Yeah.
That's what.
Absolutely.
That's my
That's what they
brand."
want. Yeah.
And you never know unless you get yourself out there.
Absolutely. Right,
That's
man.
all I got.
You got any questions?
Amazing.
You good?
No, this was cool. Learned some things.
I hope somebody learned something. Yeah, man.
I did. The
I like it.
podcast
Got some
stuff was
people
amazing.
watching.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I think you should.
For
And I think
podcasting.
that for future, you should even have like really expand this podcasting 101, podcasting 201. People want lessons, right?
Well,
That's right.
yeah, I mean there probably is some sort of market for that,
Yeah.
or at least maybe do like on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You should record a video on like she said, a podcasting 101, because I know like.
There's a lot of those out there.
Is there?
Yeah, but are they people that are sitting in their bedroom and
Yeah,
and,
it is that guy.
God
It is
knows
that
where,
guy.
or is it people that are out doing the podcast
Yeah.
every day?
I gotta teach you how to podcast.
It is that guy. My next goal is monetizing. You know.
Yes.
Sponsors. That's where the money's
sponsors.
at.
You know, I like opening boxes, so send me. You know, I want to be that.
Sponsors.
But it's getting your production up to par with people want to sponsor.
We should talk. I know we're almost out of time, but another day we could talk about digital monetization, how that works, what is a CPM, cost per thousand, how many views you need, and what that kind of money looks like. But you basically need it's what comes first, chicken and egg. People say, "Oh, I want the money," but you really need to get the views on your website or the audio listeners.
This makes $10 a month.
Yeah, but that's actually good.
Yeah, I mean it's fine. It makes money. It's making.
So you should syndicate.
It's just up. You
got to syndicate it out, and it's more.
Yeah.
And I think that you gotta
The lessons.
also consider just like even the smallest sponsor would still be a sponsor.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of
Absolutely.
podcasts out there that started off, with.
I'm a member of this. It's called Glambassador. where you get like small sponsorships, like people who just start companies.
Yeah, and then like
You
it
talk
helps
about
you
it.
out too because
Yeah,
they're like,
it's
they send it out to their friends like, oh look guys, we're on a podcast, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like
I think you're good though. I think you're a great marketer. Like on free mics, for example, like you have the People's Mic. It's every day, but you have your face on there.
Yeah,
you know, like on the
absolutely.
logo. Like that's I was always drawn
I've
to
always been a fan.
of your face.
When I was in college, I used to promote parties, and I used to just think of ways to promote that nobody's doing. You know, so
Yeah.
I used to have these transparent cards, and there were these lights on campus, and I used to put my cards in the light, and the light would go
Oh, that's
on the
smart.
building at night.
Oh my god.
So
funny.
it was
Wow.
beyond, it was everybody was like,
So
what
you're
the
doing like a shadow
fuck?
puppet thing
all
on
over
the
campus,
logo?
all over, like years. I'm not going to say how long ago, but I was like, that was fucking genius.
No, that was.
It was sucking like the card. Just throw a card in the light, and it's like Batman on the wall
That's
of the
awesome.
building. So at night you would see.
Does that
the
even
promoter.
work? I guess if you tried that.
Yeah,
right?
it absolutely worked. It was fucking dope. It was. People were like, "I saw you. Fucking, what are you doing?"
Every comedian in the room right now is gonna go home.
Yeah,
to play
that was fucking. The one other thing I did, I used to, and they hated me for it. I used to get in trouble. A lot of rules were made in college for the way I promoted parties. I used to use the glue, the sticky glue, on the back of posters, and then post them in like the cafeterias and then like wallpaper it.
Oh my
but
god!
But then in the sticky glue, I would promote the party. So when they tore it off, it was still
there.
there.
So the dust would like. Would
So it was
sit
like
here, the-
sticky glue and torn
Oh,
paper. It was
God.
like party tonight at the address on the mirror. So
No,
it
see,
was,
that's good. Like I
pretty
feel like
funny.
It was
half the
fucking-
battle
that's
is
so good.
all about the marketing.
yeah, it's all marketing.
The guerrilla,
guerrilla marketing. I love
Yeah.
guerrilla marketing.
Yeah.
That shit.
in your face.
Yeah.
Just,
Oh man. Yeah.
We're gonna start to see People's Mic stickers all
Absolutely.
over the
Yeah, I
city.
can't. I'm trying. Yeah. I got.
You know who does a good job of that? I don't know who's behind Baron Von Fancy. I don't even know who it is.
Baron Von
but
Fancy.
for
I
the
don't
last 10 years around New York, his name is. Well, he had stickers. He used to have stickers all over the city. He was like the sticker version of Keith Haring on the sidewalk. Like, you know, like I don't even know what the hell that Baron Von Fancy is. I should know. But, you know.
I am a fan of the way some people promote certain things. Like I'll walk by and be like, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Like some people.
Because especially paid advertising is,
Yeah.
you need the money. And
We gotta wrap this. Tell them where they can find you. Tell them what you got going on.
TomDecillisComedy.com. Those are a few listeners we got. Next,
Patrick, what's up?
next, I just shared the next Big Laughs to up-and-comers at the Bolton Center Theater in Bayshore, New York. That'll be Friday, June 14th. Last two shows were 150 people, so we got a great lineup on the show again. And yeah, that's it. Instagram, Tom Decillis Comedy. Twitter is T Decillis Comedy. All my shows are posted there. So
Instagram, Elyse Delucci. Facebook, Elyse Delucci. YouTube, I think it's Elyse Delucci Comedy. Working on a podcast. I'll be back to talk about it.
Do you have a name or?
It's a podcast about native New Yorkers.
Nice.
So the name, it's a working title. Working on a logo right now.
Okay.
When it's ready, I'll talk.
Okay. Shit.
For now, it's mob rules.
Mob rules.
It's mob rules. Thank you. This was
thank
so
you.
helpful.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you not keeping it private and let me give it to the world. It's another episode. Give it up for them real quick. Doug. It's another episode of People's Mic. You can find it on iHeartRadio, Spotify, JimmyPeoples.com, Facebook. We're live on Facebook every day at 2:15 at the world famous Otto Shrunken Head, followed by the People's Mic podcast. Any comic can do the podcast. So just tell me you're in town and come jump on, grab a seat, and we'll have fun. Cool?
Sounds good.
Let's do it. See you tomorrow.